name is Anna Margrethe Kærgaard, and I live in Denmark. I'm an illustrator, and I live on a small island in the Baltic Sea, where I have lived for the past 11 years. And we're sitting in my studio. I always did a lot of creative stuff with my mother. And, had a lot of music in my life. My mother is a music therapist, so I grew up like, I kept on playing when I was a child and having fun with expressing myself. And I grew up as a lonely child, and I think maybe that has affected me too, because I had a lot of spare time on my own. And so as I started, digging into my drawing life when I was young. Not a particular motivation, just a feeling that I had this feeling that this was something I was good at, or it gave me this satisfaction to work with drawing and painting and so on. And then after school I just kept on going to art school and so on. Well, this particular book, the whole project began 2 years ago. I was contacted, a little more than 2 years ago, I was contacted by a man who lives here on Bornholm, who works with old people who have Alzheimer's, and he helps the families with presenting some methods into how you can reconnect with the person who has Alzheimer's by showing them things from the past, from their childhood, and in that way they can wake up the memories and get them to talk, and you can connect again, although it's only like for a short moment. And this is a method that people use to survive in this life. For instance, in a marriage where one person is slowly slipping away, you can still have this connection and history together. And anyway, he has seen my work, some of my other books, and he was like, "You have to draw this." And I immediately thought it was a great idea. And after a while I found the author, Bettina, and she completely jumped into the project with me. And we only had this subject, Alzheimer's or dementia, and from that we just began to brainstorm on what would it be fun to draw and who should be the main character. At first, in the beginning, the main characters were the old man and the old woman, but all of a sudden the child appears in the history, because it's a much better way to tell the story, of course. So it sort of came out of nothing, and during maybe 4 or 5 months correspondence between her and me, we just sort of got the story lined up, and I could begin my drawing work with this. When I begin a new project, well, I have, for all of my books they look very, very different. I really like that process. I like, making a book and feeling, okay, and now I can sort of figure out this universe, and then I get a new text or a new idea for a project, and I like to let everything go and just go along with this new idea, and the story tells me sort of in which direction I have to go. And I think it's interesting to explore new ways, even though in the beginning of a new project, it can be very frustrating and very tiring, because I don't know really what I'm doing, and I have to reinvent myself in a way. But I think that's the main thing that drives me as an artist, and to get a new perspective on how to communicate to children. Yeah, sort of, not a real hobby, but I after I moved here to Bornholm, I got a big garden, and especially the first year I was almost all the time in my garden, just digging and rearranging flowers and so on, and so I think, yeah, I would call it a hobby. It gives me so much satisfaction to just be outside, and it's very quiet and easy, and you can get things to grow. You get sort of grounded in that way. If you come back from work and it's like, annoyed about something that didn't work out as well, or in work, you can just step outside and relax. So that's what I do in my free time. Well, actually, I think my main inspiration is actually my own kids, because you watch them move around, I adapt some of their movements and the way they think, and so I think they have certainly been an inspiration for me. I'm very happy and very excited to show my work here in Korea, and I'm so glad. It's a very, very nice opportunity for me to get outside of Denmark, and I hope you like the book and the show.
Hello, my name is Linda Bundestam and I'm an illustrator from Finland. I was extremely creative as a child. It was a bit like a volcano. I was doing things all the time with my hands, and I'm a middle child, and my siblings, they are very neat persons, and also my parents, they like when things are really in order and everything looks nice a bit. They wanted their home to look a bit like in a hotel, so everything nicely placed and in the right order. But I was extremely creative and quite messy, and creating books and painting and sewing things all the time, doing arts and crafts. But my parents were extremely supportive, and they let me do anything and always gave me good materials, and also cleaned after me, which was fantastic because it was so easy to start new art projects when you had a clean table. I actually went to art school first in Helsinki, but it was like a secondary school, I think you would say in English, specializing in arts. But then after that I went abroad. I went to London to study illustration for 4 years. Well, I think I always was an artist, but I didn't know that illustrating children's books was possible to do as a profession. So I tried to think about something else creative that I could do. I even thought I could be a furniture designer at some point, which is really funny because my style is extremely two-dimensional, and I don't think I could design sofas that are good looking and also functional. I really like to make stories with my art, to tell stories, and I think me myself, many of my best childhood memories are when I'm reading with my grandmother or my parents, or even by myself, and also I think children's books, of course I really like children and want to make good stories for them, but I always think that the best books actually are those who can be read by people of any age, where I think it can be an artistic experience for both the children and the artists, and it doesn't have to have an age limit. Rosabelle is written by a Finnish writer called Malin Kivelä, and we have made 3 books together, and Rosabelle was the 3rd one, and I think we got the idea together somehow, because I told Malin that I always wanted to make a horse book, but at the same time I think horses are really difficult to draw, so somehow I wanted to challenge myself, and also I like the idea with Rosabelle being this really strong, chubby little girl who can survive among all the long-legged horses, who are actually quite shallow, and maybe they don't have a very interesting life. Rosabelle gets to do many exciting things because she's not scared, and she's ready to escape from the stables and try new things. For example, when I did Rosabelle, I really had to watch horses and learn a lot about horses, because I never knew a horse as a child, even if I liked animals a lot. So I had to go to the stables, and I even took horseback riding classes a few times, and I just watched the horses a lot to get to know how they really look, and also to get the right feeling for the book. So I look a lot for inspiration, especially if a project feels difficult, if something is difficult to draw. And of course, I work quite a lot. I think I really love my job, but at the same time I quite often take on too many books, and there are so many wonderful texts that I feel that I want to illustrate. And sometimes when you have too much to do, of course it can be a struggle to get started and work hard enough, but I think a lot of the time you really have to, it's not all about inspiration, it's a lot about pushing yourself also, and then when you push yourself for a while, suddenly you realize that something goes right, or something maybe goes wrong, but it looks better than you thought, and then you get the inspiration. But it's a lot about self-discipline, and let me think. I'm sure I have a lot of artists who inspired me. When I was a child, my uncle inspired me a lot. He's a kite artist and an architect, but he makes absolutely fantastic kites that he designs, three-dimensional, colorful objects, and so he was very inspiring. But I also watch a lot of movies and get inspired. I think it's children's books are a lot about telling a story, and I also go to the theater a lot. I'm also part of a little theater group, and that's really inspiring. Yes, together with some writers and illustrators, and that's a lot of fun, because illustrating can also be quite lonely, and when we do something in a group, I think it's really so entertaining, and also the dynamics change when you are in a group, but it's still the same storytelling. But of course I like many contemporary children's books writers and illustrators a lot, and of course Tove Jansson, who was a Finnish children's book illustrator and artist and writer. I think she has inspired every Finnish artist. I like being in nature a lot, and usually we go to a small island with my family where we stay for the whole summer and sometimes in the weekend as well, and I really enjoy being in nature where it's peaceful, so I love that. But I also have a dog, so I like walking a lot outside in nature, and I love, of course, bicycling and being with my friends. And maybe I would say my biggest hobby is my theater group. Or at least it started as a hobby, but now we have quite a lot of people who have hired us for different events, so it's becoming more or less, more or less a profession, I have to say. Well, I hope you will enjoy my work, and I hope it will inspire you to read and explore more illustrators and children books from the Nordic countries. And yes.
So, where is this place? Kapelli.
Kaapelitehdas.
Kaapelitehdas.
That's right.
Oh. So a lot of artists have have a studio here.
And yes, a lot, and a very creative
I
environment.
see. You also have a studio here, right?
Yes.
And you said you are living that side.
Yeah, I live on the island called Lauttasaari.
To come here, you riding a bicycle?
Yes, every morning I take my bike.
Wow, how long does it take?
I would say maybe 12 minutes.
Wow, okay.
Or less.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Nice. Wow. Look at the view.
And it's a nice contrast because this place looks very industrial, and the island where I live is there. You get a lot of nature and.
Right. This building used to be a factory before.
For
okay.
cables.
For cables.
Yeah. It's called the
No
cable
wonder.
factory. Yeah.
I see.
Kaapeli means cable.
Interesting.
And a few years ago we used to have a garden here.
Oh,
But then
why they
changed.
removed?
They wanted the sauna. So,
sauna good.
Yeah, I guess.
Finland is a very cold country, so you need a sauna.
Yeah.
Yes, my name is Jenny Sjödin. I'm 30 years old and I currently live in Stockholm, the capital of Sweden. And I was born in Sweden, but in a town called Västerås. It's like an hour and a half from Stockholm. I remember that I liked to draw a lot, and also like storytelling was an important part of my everyday life as a kid, because my mom, she always went with us to the library to take home like big piles of books every week, and she also encouraged me a lot to draw and do own like storytelling projects at home. So I really enjoyed all of that. I think I have a lot of my creativity thanks to my mom. She's really good at drawing and everything creative, even though that's not what she do for a living, but she's always been a big inspiration for me. I guess I've always wanted to work with illustrations, and particularly children's picture books, but I started as a graphic designer, and after graduating I was working as a graphic designer for 2 years, and then I decided that I really wanted to try to become an illustrator, so I started a course in a school in Stockholm called Barry's School of Communication. I did an illustration course there, and after doing that course I got like a big illustrator's portfolio that I could use to apply for an MA in illustration in the UK, and I guess that was kind of the start for me as an illustrator, and also that was the start of me entering the world of picture books, because then I focused on picture books in my MA. This one, the Dancing with the Northern Star, with the Nordic Lights, I started this on the MA, so this was one of the first picture books I started to write, and the inspiration came from my own experience of losing a parent as a kid. So it's about grief and the process of grief, but it's handling grief in a positive way. It's a lot about finding hope, and it's based around this saying that they have up north in Sweden, that the Northern Lights is made out of souls that are dancing, and I find that a really beautiful idea, because when I was a kid I remember that I was always thinking about wondering if my dad, where he went, like the concept of death was not very clear to me, so I imagined him being in the forest or being somewhere where he liked to be, and I guess the whole idea of picturing him being somewhere where he was happy and where I could see him again one day, that really gave me hope. So this book is a lot about that in a positive way, with the polar bear being a friend to the girl, supporting her, and also it's a lot about, most days she still wants to play and have fun, but it's also okay to some days be sad, and finding that hope in the process. I guess it depends. Like with this picture book, I had some problems with the whole, like, getting the concept together, but sometimes it's always good to get feedback from other people, but sometimes it's also good to let things rest for a while. So I remember I've been working with this book for a really long time. I wrote it first, and then I struggled a bit with how to solve the whole thing of it being centered around grief without being too sad or heavy. I still wanted it to be filled with hope. So I didn't work with it then for a while, for maybe 6 months almost, and then looking at it again, you get like a fresh view of it, which sometimes help you solve problems that you couldn't see before. So for me that was really helpful. Now with a daughter, I have a daughter who's a year and a half, so a lot of my free time is spending time with her, like in the playground or walking in the forest. Doing that sort of things is what I enjoy the most at the moment. She's my biggest inspiration, of course, for picture books and everything, but just playing with her in the nature is amazing. Since I studied in the UK, a lot of the illustrators and authors in UK was a big part of my inspiration, especially in the beginning. So a lot of them, like Oliver Jeffers, John Classen, was the biggest inspirations for me in the beginning. Now I do read a lot of Swedish picture books, so there's some Swedish artists that I admire, like Emma Adbåge is a favorite of mine. But in general, it's just so many good things out there, and it's inspiration could come from anywhere, I guess, from music and arts as well, and movies, everything. Yeah, hi Korean visitors! I'm so happy to be part of this show. I really hope you enjoy it. Bye! On that style. Whoop, the books are falling. So then, and it's mixed with all the other, but here's like the first thumbnails of the book, so you can you can see that some of the spreads are the same, like the ones where they play are the same as in the original sketch, and the same with the one with the kitchen table, and the final spread is also the same as in my first thumbnails.
Wow. Is this your diary? What is this?
Yes, this is the working diary from the MA.
Wow.
So here's I've written about the process, what I was struggling with, and my thoughts around the thumbnails and the story, and then there will be, here's the different, like, I tried all different fonts for the cover, and
wow.
then it's some of the first. This is the first spread I did the illustration of, which is similar to the one that's in the printed book now as well. So at first I had this idea that the dad was a fisherman, so we had these details with a yellow coat and stuff, but then we removed it to simplify it a bit. So there's all this different, and you can also see here from the start that this was my first sketches of Elsie and the polar bears cuddling. So at first here's the first gouache drawing, and here's one that was just digital. So I tried that, and then I tried this mix with the gouache and the digital that I preferred. So then I kept working with this style instead of these. So a lot of the process is in this this journal. So it's really fun actually to go through it and see what's in there.
I am Matti Pikkujansa. I'm an illustrator from Helsinki, Finland. I loved drawing already when I was a child. My relative was working in a paper factory, so he brought lots of papers, colorful papers and all kinds of, and we were doing lots of drawings, and we cut with scissors these colorful papers with my sister. So we were very active and artistic. Well, I love all these things always, and I was good at drawing at school. So it was the kind of direction I always wanted to go. But later on I realized that there is a occupation called illustrator. So as if Tove Jansson, who made the Mummies. So I read the biography and I thought like, that would be wonderful work. But I was really into arts and all kinds of design, so I thought like maybe it would be something like that. I didn't know so specifically what will I do. Like after high school, I'm from northern Finland, so after high school I studied 1 year in a kind of smaller art school, but then I applied to Helsinki University of Arts and Design and I studied graphic design, but I concentrated quite much on illustration and fine arts. I really loved doing live drawing and painting and drawing. Well, I pick up ideas all the time, everywhere. So it might be just walking down the street, seeing some interesting pattern person is wearing, some color in some package, anything. So that gets me like, would be nice to do something with the mustard yellow color. And then later on I draw. I always carry my sketchbook with me, so I draw down my ideas of maybe doing something yellow bird or something. So it can be simple as that. And idea for the plywoods came first time I was invited to make something for a group exhibition in Helsinki. So then I thought I want to do something wall piece, and while talking to the gallerist I just got this idea like I could do like a wooden wall pieces. Then I just bought the machine and I loved making them, so that's how it came. I'm a very positive person, so I always try to think positive way, because I think that is creativity, like not giving up but finding a solution. So I don't meet difficulties that much in the creative process. The most biggest challenge for me is like keep it in time. So I'm kind of like a absent-minded. Sometimes on creative I can go very deep in my thoughts, but something like get things done is more difficult. But I never run out of ideas or never run out of energy and enthusiasm. Oh, well, at the moment I'm really into sports, so I go to the sports hall. So I have a personal trainer, so I do some kind of like a weightlifting that I enjoy very much. I also like to go to the public sauna in Helsinki to have some relaxing sauna, and after that some swimming. That's what I really like. At the home I like just reading books and watching some TV series and just doing nothing. Well, I love it quite everywhere, but for example, so I love in European cities, I recently really liked Lisbon in Portugal. Very much, super beautiful, nice food, nice atmosphere. And in Italy I always enjoy, for example, Firenze. And in Asia I've been traveling a lot, so for example Japan is one of the places I always go and I always want and miss. And also I've been to Taiwan, in Seoul, which I really like. So on. And in Vietnam I've been and everywhere. There are many, but from young on I really admired Marimekko, that is the Finnish textile company, and their designers. So that's one of my very big inspirations. And as well I was very inspired by the 60s artists Andy Warhol and David Hockney, for example. And recently I've been really much into Vincent van Gogh. That's what I've been doing like almost 20 years, so I've been going to flea markets all my life. So I buy it sometimes, some kind of vintage coffee cups and different things for my inspiration. So they are also kind of important thing for me, like the heritage of the Finnish design. So hello you all Koreans, so I'm very excited to bring my plywoods and art pieces for you to show. So I hope to meet you, some of you, when I come to Korea in December. Even nice just watching the record covers.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you are a designer, so you are interesting to see the cover, right?
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She brings some milk.
Oh, okay, great.